Nice.
Woo!
Scare the crap out of me. Never a dull moment. I thought I was gonna die.
Hi, I'm Gabe,
And I'm Kat.
and we're the Ghouls Next Door. Talking about spooky stuff. What? Oh my gosh, are we in love?
Yeah.
Yes,
We've
100%.
been
We've
for
been
a bunch
done
of
in
episodes.
love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We today are going to be talking about a film that we actually were considering not doing several times. We just really didn't know what to expect. It definitely has a bigger reputation. I would say more people have opinions about this film than people have actually seen this film. So it's like, it's interesting. And it's not at all anything that I thought. So
Same.
today we're going to be talking about The Hunt, which is notorious for the president saying that it should be canceled.
Yeah, he called it racist.
Yeah, before it even happened.
Yeah.
Also, that's not
It's
racism.
not. Yeah.
It's not how that works. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be kind of breaking down that film. But while you're listening, make sure that you check us out on YouTube if you're listening only. If you're watching us on YouTube, check out our iTunes. Give us a like and subscribe. Subscribe to
You could do you could do both, man.
Yeah.
I mean, hypothetically speaking, a phone has access to both Apple Podcasts or any other way you listen to podcasts and YouTube.
Yes.
So it's like, you just gotta stick around for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It'd be greatly appreciated. Well, like, actually listen to it, but like, you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah, no, but I mean
Algorithms.
the liking of it and subscribing helps us out as creators. So if you are interested, do that. And if you have any feedback, we always welcome comments and things on any of our platforms. Those are available, as well as emailing us at theghouls.nextdoor@gmail.com. So just putting that out there, get it started.
Say stuff to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've had a lot of pretty great interactions with fans as of late, and it really makes our day, but it's also helps us kind of realize that we are on the right path, because if you are a longtime listener, you've noticed we've kind of switched gears. And so we've been kind of hesitant about how that works and making sure that, we're still being true to our facts, films, feelings, and we are. Yeah, we very much still are. We're just kind of more focused on the films, like specifically, and then like kind of breaking it down, which is fun.
And also our vibes.
Yeah, our vibes.
Like, we're giving ourselves a chance to banter.
Yeah.
Which is something that at first was critiqued, but then missed. So it's like,
yeah.
Pick and choose.
Yeah.
But yeah, we give the people what they want. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, so hopefully you like it. And to all of the people who've been commenting and retweeting and all of that, thank you so much. Yeah, we really appreciate it.
You're the best music.
Yeah. Okay. DJ Khaled.
That's what me and Isaiah say to each other.
The best music.
We're like, we the best music.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
We're not music. We're education. So here we go. Let's do it. So the film The Hunt, what we were talking about before, and it being kind of notorious without ever having been watched, is because one, the trailer was going to drop in premiere, and it got pulled because we live in America and there had been a mass shooting right before, like the day before. And so they were like, this is a film about people shooting other people for fun. And so we can't really have that, even though that seems to be like the most American thing, is not caring about other people. But like parts of the film kind of did get dropped. And so people saw, one, the use of the word deplorables in association with right-wing Trump supporters specifically, which is interesting because that's what the right-wing Trump supporters use as a weaponized term for other people they don't care about, so which is a part of the joke. But there was a lot where it was clearly like the way that the trailer was framed seem like, and it is true, but like that, you know, there's liberals who are like rounding up right-wing Trump supporters with, you know, racist podcasts and have specific ideologies that were being attacked by like these, you know, left side people. So it quickly, all of like, you know, the red states and all of that were like upset, and it was like pulled and was like not gonna release, and there was a lot of talk of that. And then one of the writers is Damon Lindelof, who did the Watchmen. So that was a big part of the reason why we continued to go forward with it, because I trust him.
Yeah, it was also just like the people who were mad about it were like, all right, if they're really mad about it, I feel like we should watch it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the trailer does not do it justice. And it, like, I had no idea what it was about. I thought it wasn't going to be, like, I was on the same, like, I was just like, I don't understand what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like, okay, like, what is, I don't even understand what the film is about.
Yeah.
Like, why is this what it is? Yes, white people suck. But what's happening?
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? Like, what are we
really getting from
what's the plot, the story? You know?
Yeah.
And then it was just like, it was way better than I thought it was going to be. And as you said, like how a lot of people canceled it without actually ever watching it. It's funny because like his whole theme throughout is like, one, the dangers of extremes. Two, taking people, like canceling them without context.
Yeah.
So his movie in turn is canceled without context, and it's really like, it's funny.
It's definitely like, it became kind of meta, because it is about like people only like seeing the surface of an issue and not really like addressing it or being invested in those things, and just taking it as like, you know, you see the headline for an article and you're like, what, blah, and you don't realize it's the Onion or something, you know. Or that like that's a very minute, like we have some really, you know, tricky articles out there that are actually proving the opposite of what the title says on purpose, right? And so like it's essentially about people who take things at face value and like are just kind of steadfast in their beliefs. We have oh my gosh, what is that term where it's like, even when people like kind of show you proof,
double down?
No, there's like
there's an actual term.
Yeah. It's like, but that's like what happens is like when people show you the truth, you end up double downing and being like more confirmed in your beliefs. And so I'm so mad I can't remember the actual term, but it is this kind of sickness in a way, where you are so adamant in your beliefs that even when presented with facts that are proving that belief incorrect, it just makes you feel like, okay, that means I'm more right, because the powers that be,
conspiracies,
yes, are trying to, you know. And it's funny because there's conspiracies in there, but this film definitely became bigger, and I definitely think that more people have opinions of it than have actually seen it. And I think that's really funny, because if you did see it, you would realize it is hilarious.
It's just like a hokey, weird
so
time.
Funny.
Yeah. It was wild. I feel like that's just like the only way I can truly explain it.
Yeah.
And that you're just like, you don't even have a second to like process what you're witnessing. Like you have it go on and on and on, and you're just like, wait, what? Wait, oh, okay. Who's the main... No, it's not them. It's not. That's not the main character. They'd have to survive long enough. Yeah. You're like waiting, and you're so confused, and you don't understand what's happening, and then
there's
like you
no
do.
Good guys.
Yeah,
either.
There's none. It's you're not rooting for anybody really.
Yeah.
Like even like the protagonist, you're kind of like,
yeah,
she's there for a reason.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's like you kind of get the same, I guess, like without bias, like the bias without context kind of thing.
Yeah, I think a part of the reason why I was hesitant to watch it was because I, you know, in my readings of it, it was like, oh, it also pokes fun at the extreme of the left too, right? And like people who have like, you know, are liberal and all of that. And I was like, do we really need in this time to like villainize the left right now? And then I was like, but also it's like, we have kind of been doing that, like in our past episodes, being like, you're not being real, like you're not being an actual ally. Yeah. You're not actually supporting people, like by putting, you know, Breonna Taylor's name at the as a punchline in your like photo of like, you know, to I had a bagel this morning and today would be a great day. That's funny, sure. Yeah. And it reminds us and keeps her name there, but it's not helping. Like we're not on the front lines. We're not trying to change things and kind of get it more national. It's just kind of like a meme and a trend. And that's kind of what it is highlighting. And so I was really like worried about it. Mm-hmm. And then when it happened, like when watching it, I was like, no, this is right. Because this is actually like fully what we believe. So I'm going to tell you guys what The Hunt is about. So this is from this year, 2020. And it's like a film that totally just under the radar. Like I didn't even know it had come out. I was just like, I know it was gonna come out and then it didn't. And then I was like, did it ever actually happen? It got like similar treatment to the Kim Jong-un film with
The Interview.
Yeah. Is that what it was? Yeah.
Why is that something I remember?
That is very strange. Which is such a sad, that's a whole conversation in of itself. That's so sad to like that we think so little of someone who has quite a lot of power, actually. And there's racism or prejudice that's within that in itself because he is North Korean. So there's like this, maybe another day we'll do that film and why we think it's a problem. But this film, The Hunt from 2020, 12 strangers wake up in a clearing. They don't know where they are or how they got there. They don't know they've been chosen for a very specific purpose. The Hunt. The Hunt. In Bloodborne, the video game, there's like a NPC character because they all like their things they say, and one just says like, a hunter must hunt. And so, like, that's just something that me and my boyfriend say to each other sometimes. Cool. So I don't.
We're both going to look into both of our love lives today.
We're all weird. The director of this is Craig Zobel, and it was written.
Keep going, you got
it. It's a good day. It was written by Nick Hughes and Damon Lindelof.
Excellent.
Cool. It has Hilary Swank in it, which is what I'm dressed as if you're watching. Mm-hmm. And the other actress, which I forget her name.
I'm essentially Sarah Connor. You can't see my combat pants, but I got the same pants I wore for Kim Possible, trunks, and otherwise.
Betty Gilpin is her name.
What a fun name.
I want to kind of start with her, actually, before we even dive into the story, because similar to totally blanking on her name from Ready or Not.
Yes.
That actress, which is totally away from my brain right now. She was such a like
taking the blonde victim and flipping it kind of deal.
Kind of, but more like we have a protagonist that seems very peculiar. Like they're not following the rules the same way, which I thought was Samara Weaving. I remembered it right before I clicked, just so we know. But like how she was like, she's not like in your face pretty the way you would usually like. Some like in the trailer, people mistook her and myself too for Margot Robbie, and then like when you really see her, you're like, oh no, this is a different person, right? And kind of similar to like Elizabeth Moss, where it's just like they're an unconventional pretty, right? Like they're just a normal person pretty, right? Which is so nice and refreshing. And they were like not afraid to like get dirty and get ugly too. And this character, like she's not beautified in any way. She is rugged and her hair's a mess and she's just wearing like she's just like constantly walking through this world like, well, just gotta do it. And she's so peculiar.
That's totally the attitude the whole time. It's like, this is not what I want to be doing, but
but here we are.
I
gotta do it. I guess.
Gotta be resilient. Gotta go with the flow.
Very unfortunate, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it would have been really sad if your like face exploded if you opened that car. Kind of like that's her whole energy the whole time. There's like only one instance where she slightly divvies it up, but like not even.
Yeah.
She's just like that the whole time. There's no. Yeah. And it's honestly very satisfying and weird to watch because you're like, this is weird. As you said, peculiar.
Yeah, and I remember like towards the end, I was like, she is so strange, and like it was nice. It was nice to have someone who's just very weird.
Yeah.
Especially in a film that's so weird. So it doesn't take itself seriously at all. Like from the beginning, we have like the guy from It's Always Sunny.
Yes, but he's older now.
Yeah, I forget his name.
And they did his makeup different. He just like, I was not convinced it was him until you told me you Googled it.
Yeah.
I was like, it looks like Dennis from It's Always Sunny, but it isn't.
I was like, it's because of the obligations guy, the implications guy. But yeah, so he's in there and he does like this whole thing, and we're on the plane and a person like comes in and stumbles in and he's like disoriented and they're like, oh, like trying to help him, and then there's like they attack him, and it's very clearly like there's a point to this, right? And then we end up in the dangerous game situation where people are waking up, they have gags, they're like, it's like a lock to keep it on, and everyone's like, and we have Emma Roberts, Julia Roberts' niece, and she like, so you see her and you're like, okay, like
that's the main lady, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't like remember the trailer.
A main lady, right?
She's also blonde.
Yeah. Well, I knew she was in there, and so I was like, oh, this is gonna be interesting to see kind of like her, like, you know,
doing something different,
cry her way through things, because she like definitely seemed that way. And then we have this whole scene unfold where they like see guns and there's like a pig that runs through. We learn his name Orwell, which is like later hints to Animal Farm, which is like a whole thing. But you know, it definitely shocks you immediately. Like it kills off people in absurd ways. Yeah. Like in the you know, we're in spoiler town.
Yeah, welcome.
The first like 20 minutes, we see Emma Roberts and we're kind of following her. And there's like this whole thing where they're getting shot at. And then she's like, oh my God, that almost hit me. And then her head explodes.
Yep. That is what happened.
You're like, wait, what? Where are we? How's this happening? And yeah.
They keep setting up people who like, I mean, if you saw the trailer, you know they're not the protagonist, but like, you're like, all right, they're like a character that's going to be here for more than 5 minutes. Yeah. And then, yeah, I guess it's just really interesting that it was taken down because of its violence, but the violence in it was very hokey and unrealistic. And it was like, the gore was not realistic gore. It was just like wild, out of like, very out of pocket. Like, you're just like, what? Oh, and you don't even have time to process it, because as that's happening, another explosion's happening or another like arrow to somebody. And then you're just like, what? You don't even have time to like be affected by it. You just gotta keep going. You gotta keep like going for the ride, and you don't even know. You're kind of watching it like the main character reacts to things.
Yeah. You're like, just watching it unfold.
Oh, I guess we're doing this now. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, we're gonna go over there.
That guy's dead now.
Oh, we thought they're not nice. Nope. All right, we gotta switch up our whole mentality. Let's go.
Trust no one.
All right. Oh, look, a truck. Oh, how convenient. That'd be so great. Oh, no. There is a bomb in there.
Yeah.
All right. Look, a train. Wow. I'm telling you the whole film. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop.
Yeah. Well, like, there's a lot where it's just a lot happening. So when I was watching it, I had subtitles on because I always have subtitles. And there's a character that the characters were named, but they were never said. So like, I guess it was from the script. So sometimes it would name a character and then show their dialogue. And I was like, who is this?
Yeah, where are they?
One was Dead Sexy. And I was like, okay, well, a character named Dead Sexy exists. And I was like telling Kat, and I was just like, where are they? And I figured out who it was because her shirt said Dead Sexy. And like the scene is like, she's running and she is trying to outrun the guns, and she falls into a spike pit, and she's like, gut through, but she's still alive. And so this guy like helps her up. She's fine. And then they're like running, and then they hit a mine, and then it explodes, and she's back in the pit, but she's missing half her body. And like, that's like really the first 20-25 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, and she's still talking, and it's like, okay, clearly this is a comedy, like a very in-your-face comedy. No one should be taking this any kind of serious. It is meant to be absurd and make you laugh.
Yeah.
And it's kind of tragic that more people haven't seen it.
Yeah, it reminded me of like the Scary Movie films.
Yes.
Where like nothing in there is scary. It is clearly not a horror movie. It is just a fun time, except for the second one that's just like... Yeah. But outside of that, you know, it's just like a goofy, weird what's happening.
Yeah.
Kind of like... Oh, yeah. Scary.
Yeah.
Horror. Violence.
Yeah.
It's not like it is, but it's like the most exaggerated and ridiculous form of violence that could exist.
Yeah. I think a lot of the great parts is the dialogue that happens. There's a lot of one-liners or zingers that come from the different characters that fully encapsulate like how absurd all of these characters are. And so like you have like one guy who's literal as like the best line was like, "I know what's going on. I have a podcast." Right? And I was just like, every white man has a podcast. But it was like that was the whole thing. Like you were kind of convinced he's just this guy who's in his basement who's spouting conspiracy theories about frog people or lizard people, and the gay agenda or whatever, right? Yeah. And there's they use the word Manorgate because people forget that Watergate was the name of the hotel. We just put gate at, like, did people think Watergate was about water? What's going on? I mean,
here? maybe they do.
Yeah, but
there was a secret in the pipes.
Like, what are you doing? So it's called Manorgate, and there's like all these like conspiracies wrapped up in it, which is also funny because it's like a self-realizing prophecy, like or like rumor, like it actualized, but it started as rumor or whatever and silliness. But even like the villains or like the liberals, right, are also absurd and they say like ridiculous things too. There's like the first kind of like murders that we actually get to see are like having conversations. There is a character named Vanilla Nice, who's like from Florida and was like a white rapper guy. And so his like killing line was, "Yeah, and climate change is real." And then he like kills him. And then later they're like, she feels bad. The lady is involved and she's like, "He had a wedding ring, blah, blah, blah." And the husband's like, he could have said the N-word and probably not even just in person. Like he probably tweeted it. Yeah. And they're like, "And those people have suffered 400 years. And she's like, "Those people, honey." And he's like, "I'm sorry, Black people."
Yeah. And then again, this whole debate about like, if you
African American. Yeah.
And he's like, "But on like, where did you hear that you could call them Black people?" And then he was like, "NPR is mostly run by white people, sweetie." And then like they have that whole dialogue.
And then he says, she says, "NPR is mostly run by what?" And he's like, "White people. Ugh, we're the worst." And it was so wonderful because it was like, these absurd allies, right? Who believe them exempt and that they're completely right. And I mean, to some degree, like, yeah, like you should not be saying the N-word and we should be kind of conscious about the words that we use. It's okay to call people Black people because they're not just African Americans. They're from all over. So that like excludes like any of the islands. It also excludes the Afro-Latinx communities. Like Black can suffice. And also you can just ask people, right? And so I think, but that's just the thing, is like trying to be on the front line of like what is appropriate simply because like that's all they're doing. Like that's the role that they're playing. Like, we're better than you because we do the bare minimum, and that's just knowing what's going on. Yeah. We're woke. Yes, exactly. Without ever doing anything. And that's what all of them are. And I think it's funny, like all the liberals kind of like attack each other too. Yeah.
There's definitely like this pettiness, I guess. Like it was also really interesting, just like their dynamics, as you said, with each other, where they're just like kind of like critiquing each other and kind of going at each other's throats and clearly not happy. It seems like, one, they're being very performative, kind of as you're saying, and then like they're also just clearly not thrilled with each other as they're going through. Like they're doing this because they feel like, I guess it's like this prophecy is just like a self-actualization of this rumor that was going around, and they're just like, ugh. Whatever, like, it's fine. Yeah. This is us doing something. We were all performative and now we're doing something. And it's like, this isn't what anyone asked for. Okay. Yeah. Which I guess you can kind of attribute to everything that's happening right now. And it's like, everyone's just painting stuff. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Where's the legislation? Yeah. Or like, real change.
Yeah, like, what? Okay, cool. You're kneeling. Now, cool, nice. Can we have rights or no? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's, the reveal of how the hunt happens is, I think, the biggest tell of what like they were trying to convey, which is like that extremes are absurd, that people are performing on both sides, that we're, all kind of just got our blinders on and aren't seeing the world and aren't open to kind of hearing from each other. And there's like a black and white, right? And so like there's some funny parts where there's like I don't want to spoil it. There's some parts where you get kind of like gaslit as a viewer. There's some funny bits, but like just the reveal of how the hunt happens, and the fact that it started as a rumor, it started as a chain of texts between friends who were these wealthy elite liberals who wear kimonos and disagree that it's appropriation, and travel to other countries to take pictures with, kids that are disadvantaged, and all that nonsense. Like they're like the worst of the worst that you can get. But there's these chains, and that's where the deplorables conversation comes up, where they had this joke that they would take, like Confederate loving red state Trump supporting people and shoot them at the manor in Vermont or something, which it doesn't exist. But all that stuff leaked because that's what happens, right? Like our stuff, and people took it to heart and believed it.
They took it really seriously.
Yeah. Which is like, it is absurd, but also it's like people are going to believe some crazy conspiracies. And also like, I don't know, I feel like weirder things have happened. Yeah. So people believe it, and that's where Manorgate comes from. And so these people lose their jobs or like their dignity or whatever.
Yeah, they're canceled.
Yeah, they're canceled because of a text.
And they can't do it gracefully.
Yeah.
They have to get vengeance.
Yeah. And it's like really silly vengeance. And it's very clear that it's the first time that they've suffered any repercussions for their actions. And so that's why.
Like, all still fine.
Yeah.
She has a 2-bedroom house. Did you see that house? The house was crazy.
Well, that house was nice. Not even the one that they're in when they're picking the people. Yeah. Yeah. They're very much still fine.
Yeah. They're
completely well off. And they have no one to blame but themselves, right? Like for having those conversations or to anything like that. But there's like a whole conversation with Hilary Swank and the protagonist, Crystal, where, she essentially says like, people thought I was capturing people and killing them. And Crystal's like, but you are.
Yeah, you are.
It's happening right now. Yeah. And she's like, that's what people thought. It's like, yeah. And now they're correct.
Yeah, now it's happening.
She's like, but they did it because I wasn't doing that. I didn't do that. It wasn't real. And then it's like, but okay, but what about, there's a lot of people who are dead right now.
Like, it's just like, you always had the capacity to, clearly, or like, you were like just a small push in that direction. Yeah. Obviously, because here we are.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, because it's called Manorgate. And she's like, yeah, and I don't even have a manor involved. She's like, and then where are we? What is this?
Yeah,
And she's like, this is just a really nice Airbnb. It's like, it seems like a manor.
Yeah, it's like really big and nice, and you have a jet in your
yard. And you had to buzz me in.
Yeah.
This is your Airbnb, lady. Yeah, so that I think what a big part, like the value of this is like the absurdity and like, it's not taking itself seriously. It doesn't take these people seriously. And in a time where we are very, very much divided in America, and like America always has been divided. Like, George Washington was like, no parties. And they were like,
nice.
That scared me. Yeah. So like nothing is taken seriously. Like we've always been divided, and it's kind of fun to poke both sides, especially right now where people are so adamant of like, I am right, you were wrong. And not just that, it's I'm good and you're evil. And you deserve bad things to happen to you because you don't believe what I believe. Which is like, not believing in, climate change is bad, right? Because it does affect more than yourself. The same thing with like masks. Like, this movie is made before it comes out right now, but thinking about like, if this were made next year or something like that, they very much would have had masks involved and people not wearing masks because they would be like, it's a hoax. And, when we have a time where, rumor is now actively costing people's lives, like having someone like Herman Cain, right, being like, I'm glad we didn't have masks at the Trump rally, and now he's dead. right?
Yeah.
And it's not like, even if you don't agree with this man, right? You shouldn't be like, yay, a dead person. Like, that's not how that works, right? Like, and that's the problem. Like, this film is that, right? Is that whole idea is like people being like, ha ha, like, you were an idiot that didn't believe in mass and now you're dead, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's a human being. Like, at the end of the day, like, that's the whole point, is like, what we should be advocating for is no one to be dead. Like, it's people to stop dying meaninglessly, right? Like, and for stupid things like this. And every time I see a story of someone who listened to Trump supporters or listened to anti-maskers getting sick, and like there was a guy who like got sick. He was on John Oliver. They had like an interview, and his wife is like on the breathing machine, and she's been in there for a month. And it was just this like small town guy, but everyone in his area said it's not real, it's a hoax, don't believe in it. And so then he got sick, and now he could lose his life, and his wife could die, and that's it. And like he hasn't seen her, and so it's like these are real harmful things. So you have like a very silly, absurd film, right? That's just like, people are dying, and everyone dies. Both sides die. The Confederate people and so don't the liberals, right? And that is because like at the end of the day, that violence only begets more violence, right? No one wins. Yeah,
and I mean, it's just kind of, it's the embodiment of like what I guess media helps us put out. Like the news, if you think about like the news, they flock to what is exciting, not what's true. They flock to what will get views, not what is like the right thing. And it's, who am I to decide what the right thing is? I think a lot of people like always kind of get bogged down in that like they always think they know everything, and they're always like ready to die on that hill. You know what I mean? And it's like there are moments where there are hills that are worthy of being dead on, I guess. I don't know. But like there's this whole sense of demonizing the other side in a way that removes their humanity that I think has just been like, one, a historical thing. It's something people have been doing forever. As the justification for murder, genocide, whatever have you, whichever awful thing you want to name. There's always justification, whether it's fake science or religion. I almost said the other, I almost called it fake. It's, people believe what they want. And it's basically just like acting like there's some sort of supervillain, like we see like in comics or movies, where it's like they are not a person. Because you've demonized them to the point where there is no humanity there. And I'm not saying like we need to humanize our villains, because I did not like the Joker movie.
No. We do not.
All I'm saying is that like we really just, we don't, on either side, if you're an extremist on either side. And I will say, like, I have my moments where I get real fired up. And maybe my empathy doesn't kick in until hindsight. But I know that that's not, like, the right way to do it. Like, if any other situation, like, you want people to be able to come together. You want empathy to take hold. You want to be able to work for a mutually beneficial outcome for the future. And I think when we get in this whole, I don't care, they need to die, like, you know what I mean? Like, it definitely, the movie shows that, like, the obvious toxicity of that, just like the fact that, like, you take their humanity away, that they're, if someone on one side is worthy to die, then how is it hard to understand when someone on the other side thinks the same thing? You know what I mean?
And especially because when you think about it, so Hilary Swank's character, Athena, is the one who kind of organizes this or starts it because of the rumors going on online and the fact that she was like being condemned and canceled, right? But her decision to choose Crystal, and it turns out she got the wrong Crystal, and her last words are whoops. But to get that, the Crystal that she was intending to get was because of a comment on social media. So she was like essentially canceling the person who was like on her cancel train, right? And so it was just like, you're just doing what they are doing, but you think you're right? And so like you can justify it, and you can find an excuse to kind of be the victim or feel that way. And so like that is very kind of telling. That's like the whole premise, right? It's just like no one is right when we're kind of wishing pain and suffering on the other, right? And I think like another reason why I was so hesitant for it is because, like, you know, we do have these posts going around of people being like, we can agree to disagree. Like, we can still be friends and disagree on things. But I'm going to, you know, say it right here on the Ghouls that there are some things that we cannot disagree on. There are basic things like compassionate, basic human rights issues. And, you know, if you're trying to invalidate someone as a human being or, you know, harm them based solely on literally anything, like on either side, really, right? Like, if, yeah, it's like we can punch Nazis, that's allowed. Like, that's not something we can disagree on. Yeah. Like, you know, but it's like, at the same time, we're not killing Nazis, right? Like, we're just not giving them a platform because all it is hate. And there's nothing that we can gain from that, right? And that's something that we're not going to agree on, right? If you don't believe that Black lives matter and that all lives cannot matter until Black lives do, we're not friends. And now I'm not going to be afraid of it. I'm not upset. Like, sorry, goodbye, right?
Yeah.
Because at that point, there isn't really a dialogue. And that's what we're finding with, you know, a lot of us who are trying harder to kind of be more vocal and kind of doing the self-care that takes to block people who are going to be like that, where they are going to double down on their beliefs and not, like, you at some point realize, like, this conversation's not going anywhere. You're not actually listening to anything I have to say. So you just want to be right. And this isn't a conversation. This isn't a discourse, right? And so at that point, you just remove yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, that's what everyone's like trying to kind of, or not everyone, but a lot of people are trying to learn and kind of navigate, where we have, like, you know, people are just canceling for canceling's sake. Like, you see on Twitter, now that I'm, like, more actively on there, I've seen times where it's like, hashtag somebody is canceled. And then within 24 hours, hashtag they're uncanceled kind of thing. Like, I've seen that, I believe, twice. Once for, like, Doja Cat. It was happening, like, at the same time they were both trending, right? So it's like, where we hear something, it's hearsay, we jump on that thing, we're like, oh, this sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, you're kind of investigating, and then people are like, wait a second, that's not actually what that is. And then we're just like, oops. You know, like, we're just all, like, amped up.
Yeah. We're all like on the edge. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're in a very unique space right now because of the pandemic, because of being inside, because of just, like, everything's kind of always awful. That it's like we're all ready to fight. At all moment. We're ready to go. We're just waiting. We're sitting on our whatever stoop or whatever. We're just like, come on.
Let's do it. You. Assassination Nation.
Like,
ready.
Come on. I've been waiting for this. I have so much pent-up energy. I haven't been able to go outside in months. Come here, I'm gonna fight you. Like, I'm ready to go.
6 feet, though.
Yeah. I'm gonna wear a mask, but, like, I'm just gonna go like this in your direction. It's gonna count.
Yeah.
We're gonna, like, video game style where the wind from my punch will land.
Is enough.
Yeah.
Here's your nen.
But yeah, like,
exactly. I got you, yeah.
But, like, yeah, we would just, like, we're pent up inside. We're pent up in general, just, like, from the reality that's been so awful for so long. And, like, lots of people are fed up, like, reasonably so. And, like, just constantly experiencing trauma and trigger. Like, you can't push past, like, everyone needs to forgive themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the, like, don't encourage someone to kill themselves on the internet.
Yeah.
That's something you should never do, ever.
No.
But if you're canceling somebody and it's an honest mistake and you correct yourself, then all right.
Yeah.
Do that. Well, eventually we'll get to a point where, like, we don't just jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we have a minute to breathe.
Yeah.
Where we have a minute to be like, is this true?
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up first.
That's a big thing, right? Is, like, the truth. Like, I think what everyone should learn from this film isn't, like, that there's a right or a wrong side and that, like, people are evil and good, right? It's just like we're all people. And it's really up to us to investigate and believe things. Because, like, both sides have, like, absurd things happening, right? Like, there are, like, conspiracy theories and ideologies on both sides where we're like, what? Right? And you really have to, like, figure out and investigate and figured it out for yourself. And the problem is that most people on either side just hear one thing and they're like, well, then that means now I hate that person because my friend told me I should, right?
Yeah.
And that's like, you know, what we talked about in Assassination Nation too, right? Like we're so quick to kind of just like cut people off and like be like, you're wrong, that's it. And not really leaving anyone room to make mistakes, but also to improve on them and learn from them. And that's like kind of what the highlight should be, right? Like we should be promoting growth and not like cancellation in that way.
Yeah. And it's like, it's also like one thing, it's like, you gotta block somebody to give them the space to better themselves. Like, it's not anyone's individual job to fix people. It is a person's individual job to fix themselves. Yeah. Sometimes they won't get there. Sometimes they will. And if you gotta be like, all right, you're on pause, I'll see you in a year. Yeah. We'll see what's happening. Dude, like, you need that. Like, the world sucks so hard. And, like, everyone sucks. Every single human being that exists outside of maybe babies because they haven't developed personalities yet sucks. We all do. Like, every single person. I've imagined being canceled so many times. I know exactly what I'll say. I know exactly what will happen. Yeah. And it's like just what it is. Because it's just like we are so ready to like attack each other. Because we're all on the edge of our chairs just waiting to pounce. And reasonably so. But we're all human. We all suck. People are trash. We've been trash for forever.
We've been saying that.
No one is immune. We're all parasites infecting this planet. Yeah. So just like try not to be the worst. And if you are, it's a moment of being the worst. You can be a better later. Yeah. Yeah. Don't double down.
Better later.
Do different. Yeah. Don't double down. Do the opposite of that. Be like,
it's fine.
Be like, wow. Huh. I need to not leave my house for a very long time and self-reflect. Yeah. And, like, read books.
I'm also not allowed to leave because there's a pandemic.
That aside, some people still leave boldly anyway. So they're just like, let me run towards the danger. It's fine. Yeah. Who cares if I die or anyone else? I need Walmart. These are the things. But yeah, it's like we all suck. Everyone sucks. Everyone has crappy thoughts. Everyone has problems, is problematic because humans suck. No one is perfect. There's no superhero. We're all just people. And I want to curse so bad because it's just so like we need to stop thinking everyone is so much worse than us or that we're so much better or that even like acknowledging like when we suck that doesn't mean we gotta suck forever. Yeah. It's like I've sucked before. You've sucked. We've both been shit. Oh, crappy. There's been moments where we were like, yeah. Wow, I wouldn't want to have been friends with me. Yeah. And then you realize that and you don't just stay that way. Yeah. You're like, okay.
Let's make us better.
Yeah, let me like self-reflect, do some research, figure out why, the intention behind it. Impact matters way more, but you should know your intention behind what you do and understand why. Like hurt people. Yeah. Get to a place where you're not constantly in pain so you feel like you got to inflict that on everybody else. Like, yeah, you can do that. It's possible. Yeah. Forgiveness.
Yeah. Forgiveness every day.
You don't have to, but like.
Yeah. But I mean, like giving people the space to improve and be better, right? And yeah, not being so quick. I think we're all just on edge and sensitive. And rightfully so. There's a lot going on that makes us all a little more raw. And I think, I don't think that it means we shouldn't cancel people. Because I think there are plenty of people who need to be canceled. And also like people, like if there are people who are toxic or are not, or doing that thing where they're not listening and they're not growing and they're distinctly against the beliefs of like people deserve equal rights, right? Like if you're against that, like it's totally okay to be like no more of that person. But to go as far as like wishing death on someone or laughing about the death of someone because of that, like it's super toxic and it doesn't help you. It doesn't help your cause. It doesn't help anything. And I think like what we can learn is like this film being as meta as it is not taking it for surface value, not believing the rumors and the cancellation of it before it ever even aired, right? Like kind of as an act against that is like you can actually go watch the film, make your own decisions and ideas about it, and like realize that we were all just being goofs in hating it.
Yeah. It's just like, know the thing you're going to hate before you decide you want to hate it.
Yeah.
I guess also, if you got to cancel somebody, let them be. It's like, you're just taking away their platform. You're not taking away their life.
Yeah.
They're just taking away the megaphone that they occupy and have occupied for way too long. You're just taking that out of their hands. And that's necessary.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that, like, they're going to go die tomorrow. Like, it's just like, you don't need to be saying stuff as much anymore in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You need to go take a nap, eat a Snickers, learn some stuff, get your together, put it in a backpack. You maybe not get this platform ever again, but maybe you're a better person and you help people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the goal. It's like, you had your time in the spotlight. You did a bad job.
So you lose it. You lose
push you out of it. No more. Go home.
Yeah.
Have a nice rest of times.
Now we can have, people
who
need this platform. We'll
more
elevate
people
them
up there that are deserving of such. Or even, it's like,
or just something different. Let's spice
something
it up.
different. Who needs to occupy the platform their whole life? Nobody.
Yeah.
Have your minute. Gracefully exit.
Yeah. So we should
exit.
Have term limits in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Just why do we do what?
Why?
Yeah.
Why would that ever be like, older, wiser, man?
Yeah. And I'm such a it's funny because I was reluctant to watch it, and as someone who is like a very intense liberal, like I am definitely, and I've always been that. Like I'm kind of
to die on. So do you.
Yes, I'm the black sheep of my family, where it's just like they know I'm gonna say some stuff, right? And I very much believe adamantly on a lot of things, and those are things I'm not gonna back down on because I have done that research and I have figured out the pros and cons of that. Yeah, and that's like to me more important than just being like, oh, I heard this thing and this is what the other people who are similar to me believe, so I'm going to believe it now. Like, that's not how that works. That's not what you should do. So I think like what you should take from this film is to learn to really listen and not villainize the other and allow growth. Yeah. And have fun. It's super goofy. I definitely recommend.
It's a wild ride. That's definitely worth it. It was just like hilarious. Because I was like, wow, this is just everybody just airing their sucky flags. Just like going and being the worst. And it's entertaining. Yeah. Some of the best lines. Some of the most comedic, silly lines that had me literally LOLing. I was like, like the ugly laugh that you do, because I was just not expecting it. It's so absurd. So, just like let your guard down and just enjoy it for a minute. Yeah. If you don't like it. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that. Yeah, same. So remember to like and subscribe and drop us an email or comment and don't get married. They'll eat your kids. Yeah. And it's your choice if you want kids. Yeah. And we shouldn't be all up in people's business if they don't want them. Yeah. You can eat whoever you want. That's fine. Yeah. If you want to get married, fine. The don't is like just like a suggestion. Yeah. Do whatever you want. Yeah. Like within reason. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, bye. I love you. Bye.